Hey everybody, Gabe Jenkins back with you. I've gotten this request a few times from students, so I'm gonna just put this out there. I don't know if you're gonna find it super useful or not, but I think it's good to put it out there in the beginning of the semester because you're gonna see over the course of the semester that there's a whole bunch of videos that I upload that help you kind of understand how to think about the AutoCAD assignments as well as how to actually do the AutoCAD assignments. And one of the things that's I don't know, it's kind of hidden, kind of implicit, just kind of in the background is that the way your AutoCAD environment, the way your desktop, the way your program works for you is highly dependent upon what settings you choose for your specific needs and your preferences. And so I'm going to walk you through how I like to set up my AutoCAD environment so that in case you're watching a video and you're like, well, I'm trying to do what you're doing and it's not working the same way. It's very, very, very likely that the fact that yours performs differently than mine does, not due to anything you're doing wrong. It's just the fact that your settings probably are a little bit different from my settings. And so I'm going to try to just walk you through how I like my settings to be and talk you through kind of what they are and what they do. So that in case you like them, you can keep them. You can set yours up like mine, and if you don't like mine, you can set them up the way you want it. So this is a basic AutoCAD environment. One thing to make clear right at the very beginning is that as our drawings become more and more complex, you're going to want to use what are called different layers. And so a layer is like if you imagine like a drawing and then you overlay up, like in front of it, you overlay some kind of a very clear, thin piece of plastic so you can draw, you can annotate your drawings, you can make multiple layers. And AutoCAD works in the same way. You can have multiple layers of a drawing and you can turn layers on or off, or you can move one layer forward, one layer backwards. You can kind of control where you're drawing. Now, I've set up your templates that I've asked you to download. I've set them up with a whole bunch of different layers already predefined. And in this case, the layers have different settings for them, different colors of lines, different types of lines. And not that this is all going to make sense right now, but it will make more sense over the course of the semester. But just so you see, there are all of these layers that are already kind of pre-embedded in your templates that you have, the inches template and the millimeters template. I'm going to want you to draw all the things that you want me to see that are visible object lines. I'm going to want you to put them on the visible line. So as you start your drawings, one of the first things you would probably want to check would be you click visible. That means that when you make a line, it's going to be it's going to show up as a white straight line. There are other types of lines. Construction lines allow you to kind of just draw lines that you want to be able to turn on and off that help you locate different things. Say I wanted a circle to start right here. Well, if I drew a line from there to there, and I had that on the construction layer, and I wanted to draw a circle there, I can define where that circle is going to be. But one cool thing is that you can turn layers on and off. You can hide them. You can make them reappear. So to hide that blue construction line right there, I could just click this light bulb and it disappears. And it's gone, right? I don't have to erase it. If I wanted to come back and figure out what I did, I can go back and turn it back on. And it's always there. It's just a layer that you can hide or make reappear. When you start to do drawings with dimensions, you're going to put all those drawings on the dimension layer. It's going to have all the kind of settings for how dimensions work built into it. The lines are all going to be red. When you go into multi-view drawings, an edge that you can't see from a particular perspective, whether it's the right side, top side, or front side views, you draw those edges with hidden lines. And so one of the things you're going to need to be able to learn to use is use hidden lines. Projection lines also are used in multi-view drawings, etc. We're not going to get into those too much right now. Instead, what I'm going to ask you to focus your attention on are all of these little things down here at the bottom. They're super important. These determine your settings. So I'm not sure all of these are going to show up on the recording because some of the some of the lines are very, very light. But these are some of the settings that I like to use. So grid mode, if you can see it, grid mode turns the grid lines in the background on and off. It doesn't look like you can see them very easily, but maybe you can. Yeah, it's pretty hard to see. Anyway, I don't like them to. I don't want to see the grid lines for the most part, so I usually turn those off. This is a really important one. It's snap settings. Now you can set your cursor to automatically kind of lock onto specific spots, which is really, really helpful as you're doing drawings. I like to leave mine on polar snap. I hate grid snap. Just to show you really quickly, if I clicked on grid snap and I was trying to draw a line, you see, let me just zoom in. You can see that it kind of jumps around from spot to spot. What it's actually doing is it's jumping from one grid point to the next grid point. And that's really frustrating for me. I would like my cursor to move really smoothly. And so I would never want grid snap to be on. I like polar snap though, because what it does is it lets me kind of like lock onto certain angles, right? So I like that. With all of these, to turn any of these things on or off, you just click on it. When it's on, it will appear blue. When it's off, it will be kind of that beigey gray color, right? All right, so that's that one. Next one is incredibly important. Dynamic input allows you to determine things about an element you're drawing while you're creating it. So for instance, if I try to make a line, and I click here's my first as my starting point, you can see on the screen there's a little blue box that says 4.647 and another box that says 34 degrees. As I'm moving it around, those numbers are changing, those values are changing depending upon how long the line I'm drawing is and what the angle is, right? And so, dynamic input allows these boxes to show up. So if I say I want this line to be 8, I can type in 8 and tab to the other box. Tab is what gets you to the other box. And you can see right now, because I typed in 8, I kind of locked in 8. It knows that I want this line to be 8 units long. And now I'm just kind of adjusting the angle that I want it to be. If I went back over here, I could make it smaller. I could make it 5 and da 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 da. Alternatively, I'm just tapping back and forth. I could say I want it to be a 85-degree angle tab, right? And now it's locked into 85 degrees. If I hit backspace, right? It's locked onto the 85 degrees, but the length can change, right? As soon as I kind of know what I want it to be, say I want it to be 8 long, or not even, I want it to be 8 long and 45 degrees. As soon as I know what I want it to be, I can just hit enter and it's done. Without dynamic input, what happens is, so I turned it off. Now what happens is if I want to make a line, I can't, I'm just kind of like going around blindly in the dark. I don't have any idea how long it is. I don't really have any idea what the angle is. And that's a really frustrating way to draw anything of technical dimensions, like specific dimensions. It's an incredibly frustrating way to do it. So I always leave this dynamic settings buttons on. Restrict cursor orthogonally. I do not like that one. That's why I leave that one off. But just to show you what it does, it means that I can only go up or down or left or right in terms of drawing things. I definitely do not want that. This does the same thing, but for specific angles. Okay, so that is if you wanted to say like say you 30, 60, 90, and you wanted to draw a line, right? Kind of locks you on. You see, if I go past 30 degrees, it will, it kind of it locks onto that 30-degree angle and kind of projects this green line on there. That means that as long as that green line is projected, it knows that I want to do 30 and then 60 and then 90 and kind of every 30 degrees as you rotate around your starting point. It's assuming that you want to lock onto those specific angles. That can be really useful if you're trying to do like an isometric drawing later on in the semester. They're really helpful because a lot of it's based on 30 and 60 and 90-degree angles. And so those are really useful angles to select. For now, I like to lock on to 45, 90. For me, that makes sense. So I like that. We're not doing isometric drawings yet, so we're not worried about that. I like it to show the reference, if I'm going by like a 45-degree line, I like it to show me that it's locking onto that. So I leave that one turned on. This one right here is incredibly important. Okay, it's saying what do you want your cursor to be able to lock onto. This will be incredibly important and useful over the course of your time here in AutoCAD. If you do the drop-down menu, you're going to see you can select any on all of these points as places that you want your cursor to be able to lock onto. These are my settings. If you want it to be able to lock onto an endpoint of a line, super useful. The midpoint of a line, super useful. The geometric center, if you have like a rectangle and you want it to be able to lock onto the center of that rectangle, you would need to have geometric center selected here. Quadrant, really helpful if you have a circle and you want it to be able to just quickly identify the top or the bottom or the left or the right, not corner on a circle, the highest point or the lowest point, the furthest left or the farthest right point of a circle. You need quadrant selected because that will allow you to click on it. Extension allows you to select if you were going to if you wanted to start something or end something at a place where another line extends into, you would want that clicked. Perpendicular, super useful. Tangent, and an apparent intersection. This is like if you have two lines that don't touch but would touch somewhere farther off and you want to be able to like lock onto the place where they would touch, you want apparent intersection clicked. So again, these are my settings. If you find that something is not like clicking, like snapping to a specific spot that you want, it's very, very, very likely that that's the problem. And so you would want to go to that this little button right here, click the drop down menu, and it gives you all of the choices of things you can lock onto. Those are the most important ones. I do like it to show annotation objects, and the rest of these, if you want to kind of get into them, you should feel free to look into them. There's a lot of stuff that you can lock onto, and you can see. So that's it for snap settings and all the adjustment settings. You will find that as you do AutoCAD more and more and more, you're going to find the way that you like it to work the best for you. Okay, so once you have those settings worked out for you, make sure that you've saved those settings, and then it'll perform the way you want it to forever. All right, everybody, have a great day.